Well, I don't know. I was being at the right place at the right time. I had never studied or thinking about being an actor or get it.
2025 has been a heartbreaking year for Hollywood, especially for the black acting community. In just a few short months, we've said goodbye to legends, rising stars, and unforgettable faces who left their mark on the big and small screens. From TV icons to silver screen favorites, here are 20 black actors who tragically passed away in 2025. 1. Malcolm Jamal Warner.
What are you gonna do to me?
I am going to fix your ear.
Then what?
You expecting some sort of punishment?
Shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Malcolm Jamal Warner brought joy to millions of families every Thursday night. The young man who played Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show had this amazing way of making everyone laugh while teaching important lessons about growing up. Born in 1970, Malcolm was just a teenager when he landed the role that would make him famous around the world. The show ran from 1984 to 1992, and during those 8 years, viewers watched Malcolm grow from a cute kid into a handsome young man. He wasn't just reading lines either. Malcolm had real talent. He could make you believe he was really frustrated with his homework or excited about a new girlfriend. His chemistry with the whole TV family felt so natural that people often forgot they were watching actors. After The Cosby Show ended, Malcolm didn't disappear like some child stars do. He kept working hard, starring in Malcolm and Eddie with comedian Eddie Griffin. The show ran for 4 seasons and showed Malcolm could carry a series as an adult. He played Malcolm McGee, a mechanic who shared an apartment with Eddie's character. The two had this great buddy comedy chemistry that kept people laughing. Malcolm never stopped exploring his creative side. He wrote poetry and made music, showing there was so much more to him than just acting. He played the bass guitar and even directed some episodes of different TV shows. In recent years, he appeared on popular shows like The Resident, where he played Dr. A.J. Austin, and Major Crimes. He also showed up on 911 and Alert, Missing Persons Unit. On July 20th, 2025, Malcolm was vacationing with his family in Costa Rica when he accidentally drowned at Playa Cocos in Limon Province. He was only 54 years old, still young enough to have many more great performances ahead of him. 2. Kenneth Washington.
I find a girl, get married, we have a child. And the baby says to me, "And what did you do in the war, Papa?" And I must answer, "I made crêpe Suzette."
Lie to the kid.
Kenneth Washington might not be a household name to younger viewers, but to fans of classic television, he was part of TV history. Born on October 19, 1936, in Ethel, Mississippi, Kenneth lived through some incredible changes in America and Hollywood. He was 88 when he passed away on July 18, 2025, at his home in Beverly Hills. Kenneth joined the cast of Hogan's Heroes during its final season in 1971, playing Sergeant Richard Baker. This was a big deal because he was replacing Ivan Dixon, and fans of the show were pretty protective of their favorite characters. But Kenneth won people over with his natural acting style and great sense of timing. Hogan's Heroes was this wild comedy about Allied prisoners of war who were secretly running operations right under their German captors' noses. Before Hogan's Heroes made him famous, Kenneth was already working steadily in Hollywood. He appeared on some of the biggest shows of the 1960s. He was on Star Trek during its original run, I Dream of Jeannie, Petticoat Junction, and My Three Sons. Back then, it wasn't easy for black actors to find good roles, but Kenneth kept working and building his reputation. Kenneth also appeared in the 1973 movie Westworld, which was way ahead of its time with robots and artificial intelligence. He was in TV movies too, including one about John Edgar Hoover. After Hogan's Heroes ended, Kenneth didn't retire. He kept acting and even appeared on A Different World, The Cosby Show spin-off, in 1989. What's really cool about Kenneth is that after his acting career, he went back to school and became a teacher. He taught courses about black actors in film and oral interpretation at Loyola Marymount University and Southwest College. He wanted to share his knowledge and help the next generation understand the history of black performers in Hollywood. When he died, Kenneth was the last surviving main cast member of Hogan's Heroes, which made his passing feel like the end of an era. 3. Brandon Barbara Artis.
You know, I'm very optimistic and hopeful for the future.
Brandon Barbara Artis lived a life full of different adventures before Hollywood even knew her name. She was born in 1944 and served in the U.S. Air Force before becoming an actress. That military background gave her a special kind of strength and discipline that showed up in all her performances. Brandon appeared in some really interesting movies during her career. She was in THX 1138, which was George Lucas's first feature film, made before he became famous for Star Wars. The movie was this weird futuristic story about people living in an underground society. It wasn't a big hit when it came out in 1971, but now people recognize it as an important early work from one of Hollywood's greatest directors. She also appeared in At the Top of the Pyramid and The Doctor. While these weren't blockbuster movies, they gave Brandon chances to work with different directors and show her range as an actress. She understood that every role, big or small, was a chance to learn something new and get better at her craft. Television kept Brandon busy too. She appeared on Man from Atlantis, which was this short-lived show about a man who could breathe underwater. She was also on The White Shadow, a drama about a white basketball coach at an inner-city high school. The show dealt with real social issues and gave actors like Brandon chances to be part of meaningful stories. Brandon also showed up on some of the biggest soap operas of the time. Knots Landing, Dynasty, and General Hospital all featured her in different roles. Soap operas were great training grounds for actors because they had to learn lines quickly and work fast, but they also let performers really dig into dramatic material. After her acting career, Brandon kept creating. She wrote an autobiographical one-woman play called Sister Girl, where she shared stories from her own life. In 2011, she wrote a romance novel called Running Barefoot in Paris. Brandon passed away on March 31st, 2025, at the age of 81, leaving behind a body of work that showed her versatility and creativity. 4. Lynn Hamilton.
I am glad I found out about your bad temper.
And I'm glad I found out about your big mouth.
Lynn Hamilton was born Alzenia Hamilton in Yazoo City, Mississippi on April the 25th, 1930. She lived through the Great Depression, World War II, and all the major changes in civil rights. When she started acting, opportunities for black women were very limited, but Lynn never gave up on her dreams. She began performing in Chicago's community theater scene, learning her craft and building confidence. At 29, Lynn made it to Broadway with a show called Only in America in 1959. Broadway was the big leagues, and getting there meant she had real talent and determination. She went on to appear in many Broadway and off-Broadway productions, building a reputation as a serious actress. Television audiences got to know Lynn through her role as Donna Harris on Sanford and Son. The show starred Red Fox as Fred Sanford, a junk dealer with a sharp tongue and a heart of gold. Lynn played his girlfriend, and their relationship brought some of the show's sweetest moments. She could match Red's comedy timing while bringing her own warmth to the character. But Lynn's most famous role was probably Miss Verdi on The Waltons. This wholesome family show was set during the Great Depression and World War II, and Lynn played the local school teacher. Miss Verdi was wise, kind, and strong, everything a good teacher should be. Lynn brought such dignity to the role that she became one of the show's most beloved characters. Lynn also appeared on Generations, a daytime soap opera that focused on black families. This was groundbreaking for daytime television, and Lynn played Vivian Potter with the same grace she brought to all her roles. She was also on Dangerous Women in 1991, playing an ex-con named Sissy Johnson. Even in a tough role like that, Lynn found ways to show her character's humanity. Throughout her career, Lynn appeared on many other popular shows: 227, The Golden Girls, NYPD Blue, Cold Case, and Judging Amy Y. She also had a role in Roots: The Next Generation, playing Georgia Anderson. Lynn passed away on June 19, 2025, at the age of 95, having lived long enough to see many positive changes in Hollywood and America. 5. James McEachin.
And the dude that was standing by the door had on a brown leather jacket, blue shirt, white pants, and brown shoes. Anything else? Yeah, he had a button missing off his jacket.
James McEachin was born in 1930 in Rennert, North Carolina, and his life story reads like an adventure novel. At just 17, he enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1947. He served during the Korean War and was wounded in an ambush, earning him the Purple Heart and Silver Star. These medals weren't given to James until 2005, which shows how long it sometimes takes for heroes to get proper recognition. After the military, James became a songwriter, using the name Jimmy Mack. He worked with some incredible artists like Otis Redding and the Furies. Music was James's first love in entertainment, and he had a good ear for what made a song special. But in the 1960s, he decided to try acting, and Hollywood was lucky to get him. James appeared on many classic TV shows: Hawaii Five-0, It Takes a Thief, and The Rockford Files. These were all popular action and mystery shows where James usually got to play tough, smart characters. He had this natural authority that made you believe he could handle any dangerous situation. His most famous TV roles were probably on All in the Family, where he played two different characters, Solomon Jackson and Mr. Turner. All in the Family was groundbreaking because it dealt with serious social issues through comedy. Having James appear on the show was important because it gave audiences a chance to see a black actor in complex, dignified roles. James also starred in his own show called Tenafly, though it only lasted one season. He played a private investigator, and the show was actually pretty good, but it came out during a time when there were lots of detective shows on TV. Movie fans might remember James from his work with Clint Eastwood. He appeared in 4 Eastwood films: Coogan's Bluff, Play Misty for Me, Every Which Way But Loose, and Sudden Impact. Working with Eastwood multiple times showed that directors trusted James and liked working with him. Later in his career, James became well known for playing Lieutenant Ed Brock in numerous Perry Mason TV movies. These movies were popular with older audiences who remembered the original Perry Mason series. James brought his natural authority to the role and helped make these TV movies successful. James spent his later years writing books and working on military-based projects. He never forgot his fellow veterans and wanted to tell their stories. James passed away on January 12, 2025, at the age of 94, having lived a full life as a soldier, musician, and actor. 6. Dave Scott.
To have them move to it, and you're not just a part of a play, it makes it, you appreciate it a little bit more different.
Dave Scott was all about movement and music. Born in 1973, he grew up loving dance and had this natural ability to see how bodies could move to create something beautiful. Dave didn't just dance, he understood how to teach others to move in ways that would make audiences feel something special. Dave formed the teen R&B group B2K, which became hugely popular in the early 2000s. The group had 4 members, Omarion, J Boog, Raz B, and Lil Fizz, and Dave choreographed all their moves. B2K wasn't just another boy band. They could really dance, and their performances were electric. Dave made sure every move looked smooth and natural, never forced or awkward. The success of B2K led to Dave choreographing the movie You Got Served in 2004. This film was all about street dancing and competition, and Dave's choreography was the star of the show. He understood that movie dancing had to be different from stage dancing. The camera could catch details that live audiences might miss, so everything had to be perfectly timed and positioned. Dave also worked on Step Up 2, The Streets in 2008, part of the popular Step Up movie series. These films were all about dance, and Dave brought his street dance expertise to make the performances feel authentic. He knew how to make dancers look good on camera while telling a story through movement. Other movies benefited from Dave's talents too. Stomp the Yard, Dance Flick, House Party 4, Coach Carter, and Battle of the Year, The Dream Team. Each movie required different styles of dance, and Dave could adapt his choreography to fit the story and the characters. Television loved Dave too. He worked on So You Think You Can Dance, starting in Season 3, bringing hip-hop choreography to the show. This was important because it helped introduce mainstream audiences to street dance styles they might not have seen before. He also worked on Dancing with the Stars during Season 7, creating routines for celebrity contestants. Dave co-created another teen group called Mindless Behavior in 2012, showing he could spot talent and develop it. He also worked on the Hip Hop Dance Experience, a video game that let players learn dance moves at home. Dave passed away on June 16, 2025, at the age of 52, leaving behind a legacy of movement and music that inspired countless dancers. 7. Ananda Lewis.
I was being monitored by doctors. I didn't just turn my back on medicine. I spent 16 weeks in Arizona. I did fractionated chemotherapy, so it's 10 to 20% of what you would normally do.
Ananda Lewis was the cool older sister everyone wished they had. Born in 1973, she became famous as a VJ on MTV during the late 1990s, when music videos were still a huge part of youth culture. Ananda hosted shows like Total Request Live, where she got to interview the biggest music stars and help decide which videos got played the most. MTV in the 90s was this incredible cultural force, and VJs like Ananda were like the voices of a generation. She had this perfect combination of being knowledgeable about music, but also fun and approachable. When she interviewed artists, they seemed comfortable talking to her, which made for better conversations and more interesting television. Before MTV, Ananda worked on BET's Teen Summit, a show that dealt with real issues facing young people. Teen Summit wasn't just entertainment. It was educational programming that tackled topics like relationships, education, peer pressure, and career planning. Ananda was perfect for this because she could talk to teenagers without talking down to them. After her VJ days, Ananda got her own talk show, which was a big step up in her career. Having your own show meant networks trusted you to carry an entire program, not just introduce other people's content. Ananda brought the same warmth and authenticity to her talk show that made her successful on MTV and BET. In 2020, Ananda made a brave decision to share her battle with breast cancer publicly. She talked about how she had avoided getting mammograms and how she regretted that choice. Her message was simple but important. I need you to get your mammograms. She knew that her fame gave her a platform to potentially save other women's lives by encouraging them to get regular screenings. When Ananda passed away on June 11, 2025, at the age of 52, both MTV and BET released statements remembering her contributions. MTV said she helped raise a generation of music fans, while BET noted that she continued to soar in her career, leaving an imprint that was and continues to be felt by many. 8. Presley Chweneyagae.
Decorum, yes. Sophistication, oh yeah. So when you're associated with me, Dwanaga, they'll tell you what's Amayale, opulent.
Presley Chweneyagae was born on October 19, 1984, in Mafeking, South Africa, during a time when his country was still dealing with apartheid. Growing up in South Africa during the 1980s and 90s meant witnessing incredible historical changes, and those experiences shaped Presley as both a person and an actor. Presley worked in theater, television, and film for 3 decades, starting when he was very young. South African entertainment was developing its own identity separate from European and American influences, and young actors like Presley were part of creating something new and authentic. When Presley was just 21, he landed the role that would make him internationally famous, the title character in Tsotsi. This 2005 crime drama, directed by Gavin Hood, told the story of a young criminal living in the townships outside Johannesburg who ends up caring for an abandoned baby. The role required Presley to show incredible range. His character started as someone audiences might hate, but gradually revealed his humanity. Tsotsi wasn't just successful, it was groundbreaking. The film won the 2006 Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film, making it the first South African movie ever to win an Oscar. It was also nominated for a Golden Globe. For a young actor from South Africa, this was like winning the lottery and climbing Mount Everest at the same time. The success of Tsotsi opened doors for Presley internationally. He appeared in Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom, a biographical film about Nelson Mandela starring Idris Elba. Being part of a movie about such an important historical figure was probably both exciting and intimidating for Presley. He also appeared in More Than Just a Game, State of Violence, and Africa United. Each of these films dealt with different aspects of African life and history, and Presley brought authenticity to his roles because he had lived through many of the experiences his characters faced. Presley passed away on May 27, 2025, at the age of 40. He was still young enough to have many more great performances ahead of him, but he had already accomplished something remarkable by helping put South African cinema on the world map. 9. Kirk Meadows.
A lot of drama, a lot of fun, a lot of love, but more so craziness, to be honest.
Kirk Meadows was the kind of person who made reality TV fun to watch. Born in 1992, he was part of a generation that grew up with reality shows and understood how to be entertaining without being fake. Kirk appeared on MTV's Floribama Shore for all 4 of its seasons, from 2017 to 2021. Floribama Shore was MTV's answer to Jersey Shore, but set in the Gulf Coast instead of New Jersey. The show followed a group of young people living together in a beach house, dealing with relationships, jobs, and all the drama that comes with being in your 20s. Kirk fit right into this environment because he was naturally funny and got along well with everyone. Reality TV can be tricky because cameras are always rolling, and everything you do becomes part of the show. Some people crack under that pressure or start acting fake, but Kirk stayed himself. He had this laid-back personality that made him easy to like, and he never seemed to take himself too seriously. Kirk also appeared on other MTV shows like How Far Is Tattoo Far and Fear Factor. These guest appearances showed that MTV liked working with him and that audiences responded well to his personality. In reality TV, that kind of repeat booking is a sign that someone is really good at what they do. What made Kirk special was his loyalty to his friends. When the Floribama Shore cast members heard about his illness, they rallied around him. Cody Butts, one of his castmates, posted on social media, "My heart is absolutely broken. I wish this was a bad dream that I could just wake up from. Thank you, Kirk, for giving me some of the best years of my life. You have made me a better person. I will forever love you and cherish our friendship." Kirk's family set up a GoFundMe campaign to help with his medical expenses when he was fighting necrotizing pancreatitis in the ICU. This showed how much people cared about him and wanted to help. Reality TV stars don't always get that kind of support from their communities, but Kirk had built real relationships with people. Kirk passed away on May 2, 2025, at the age of 33. He was young and had his whole life ahead of him, but he had already brought joy to many people through his television appearances and his friendship. 10. Barry Michael Cooper.
and it was very pervasive. Like I was saying earlier, you know, people with heroin, people have a fear, a phobia of needles. With crack, it was something that you could smoke.
Barry Michael Cooper was born and raised in Harlem, and everything about his career reflected his deep connection to that community. He started as a music critic for the Village Voice, writing about hip-hop and R&B when these genres were still developing their identities. Barry understood that music was more than entertainment. It was a way for communities to tell their stories. Barry's journalism made him famous in media circles. His 1987 cover story for the Village Voice, Kids Killing Kids, New Jack City Eats Its Young, was about Detroit's violent drug trade scene. The article didn't just report facts, it painted a vivid picture of how drugs were destroying young lives and communities. This piece caught the attention of Quincy Jones, one of the most powerful people in entertainment. Quincy asked Barry to rewrite a screenplay about 1970s drug lord Nicky Barnes, and that project became New Jack City in 1991. The movie starred Wesley Snipes, Ice-T, Alan Payne, and Chris Rock, and it was both a commercial success and a critical hit. Barry had created something that was entertaining, but also serious about the real-world problems it portrayed. New Jack City became the first part of what people called Barry's Harlem Trilogy. The second film was Sugar Hill, another drug-hustling drama that reunited him with Wesley Snipes. The third was Above the Rim, a basketball drama starring Tupac Shakur. Each of these movies dealt with young black men trying to survive and succeed in difficult circumstances. Barry passed away on January 21, 2025, at the age of 66. He had lived long enough to see hip-hop become a global cultural force and to watch many of the communities he wrote about begin to heal and grow. 11. Shavi Lewis. Shavi Lewis had a flair for fashion that you just couldn't ignore. You might remember him from season 18 of Project Runway. He didn't win, but he sure made an impression before finishing in 10th place. His bold designs and creative direction stood out, and not just on the show. Before the cameras rolled, Shavi was already making waves as the creative director for menswear brand Stephen F., and he even had his own clothing line. Tragically, on February 24th, Shavi passed away at the age of 38. His fellow contestants and fans were shaken by the news. Brittany Allen, one of his castmates, shared a heartfelt tribute, saying the world of fashion felt dimmer without him. And that pretty much summed it up. He was that rare kind of talent, someone whose ideas lit up a room. 12. Sly Stone. I wanna take you higher. Now here's a name that changed the sound of music. Sly Stone. Born Sylvester Stewart in Texas, Sly moved to California, where his love for music took off like wildfire. By the age of 11, he could already handle guitar, drums, bass, and keyboard like a pro. He and his siblings, Freddie and Rose, grew up on gospel music before forming the band SLY and the Family Stone in 1966. Their early stuff didn't hit big right away, but things shifted fast with the release of Dance to the Music. Then came classics like Everyday People, I Want to Take You Higher, and Family Affair. The group's performance at Woodstock in 1969? Unforgettable. They blended soul, rock, funk, and R&B in a way no one had before. Sly was known for being a little reclusive in his later years, but his influence never faded. He passed away on June 9th at the age of 82 after struggling with COPD and other health issues. 13. Sam Moore.
Lean on me when times get bad.
If you've ever belted out Soul Man, you've felt the magic of Sam Moore. He was one half of the unforgettable duo, Sam and Dave. Born in Miami in 1935, Sam grew up singing in church before pairing up with Dave Prater. The two carved out a spot in music history with hits like Hold On, I'm Comin', I Thank You, and of course that all-time classic Soul Man, which even earned them a Grammy in 1968. After the duo split in 1970, Sam's solo career took a quieter path, with his first solo album not releasing until 2002. But in 2006, he came roaring back with Overnight Sensational, collaborating with big names like Bruce Springsteen, Mariah Carey, Sting, and more. Sam passed away on January 10th at 89, leaving behind decades of soulful music and a voice that couldn't be duplicated. 14. Young Scooter.
White chalk, should I say the word, they'll do it.
Young Scooter made his mark on Atlanta's hip-hop scene with his gritty lyrics and relentless mixtape drops. Born Kenneth Bailey in 1986, Scooter kicked off his rap journey with Finessin' and Flexin' in 2011. He quickly caught the attention of Future and became part of the Free Band's crew. From there, he never slowed down. His 2013 tape, Street Lottery, included the buzzing track Columbia, which even got a remix with Rick Ross, Birdman, and Gucci Mane. Over the years, Scooter dropped over 20 mixtapes and collaborated with major names like Chief Keef, Lil Wayne, and Akon. His style had a street toughness that fans loved. Sadly, he passed away on March 28th at just 39 years old. His last release, Fast Lane Juggin', had come out just a month earlier. 15. Robbie Pardlow. If the early 2000s R&B wave hit you hard, you definitely remember City High. Robbie Pardlow helped form the trio, and their song, What Would You Do, was pretty much everywhere in 2001. It had a raw, honest vibe that made you stop and listen. Alongside Claudette Ortiz and Ryan Toby, Robbie brought something fresh to the scene. The group dropped one album, City High, and it earned them a Grammy nomination. After the group disbanded, Robbie kept his love for music alive, working with another group called First Take. He passed away on July 17th at the age of 46. It was one of those losses that hit fans of early 2000s music especially hard. 16. Young Noble.
Man, more people, more fucking problems. Mind your business, but they still got your name in drama.
Young Noble wasn't just part of the rap game, he was part of Tupac's legacy. Born Rufus Lee Cooper III, Noble joined Outlaws in 1996 after Tupac personally brought him into the fold. That same year, he was featured on The Don Killuminati, The 7 Day Theory, including on tracks like Hail Mary. He went on to release 8 solo albums, with Noble Justice in 2002 and The Last Outlaw in 2024. Fans respected Noble for staying true to the Outlaw's spirit and continuing the work even after Tupac's death. Sadly, Noble died by suicide on July 4th in Atlanta at the age of 47. His passing was a tough blow for hip-hop lovers who knew just how important his voice was. 17. Walter Scott Jr. Walter Scott Jr. was one half of a dynamic duo. Alongside his twin brother Wallace, Walter helped form The Whispers, one of R&B's most legendary groups. Born in 1943, Walter got into music young and never looked back. With hits like Rock Steady and The Beat Goes On, and Lady, The Whispers became household names during the 80s. Walter wasn't just a singer, he was a performer who brought heart to every note. After battling cancer for 6 months, he passed away on June 26th at 81, surrounded by his family in California. He left behind decades of soulful music that still makes its way onto playlists today. 18. DJ Unk.
This is shit out. I'm saying, like, this solo dolo. Y'all need to be coming up to me talking about, goddamn, can you come stay at my house?
If you were anywhere near a dance floor in 2006, you definitely walked it out. That was DJ Unk's moment, and boy, did it hit big. Born Anthony Platt, Unk started DJing as a teen and quickly made a name for himself in the Atlanta scene. His debut album, Beatin' Down Yo Block, included the massive hit Walk It Out, which soared up the charts and even got a remix with Andre 3000 and Jim Jones. He followed it up with Two Step, which had its own catchy remix featuring T-Pain and E40. Unk kept the music coming throughout the 2010s, releasing Fresh Off Dem Papers in 2017. Sadly, he passed away on January 24th at just 43. He may be gone, but his beats still get people moving. 19. Wayne Lewis. Wayne Lewis helped bring us some of the smoothest R&B tracks ever. As a founding member of Atlantic Starr, he played both keyboard and vocal roles, balancing the groove with emotion. Wayne and his brothers, along with a tight group of musicians, formed the band in 1976. Together, they gave us classics like Circles, Always, and Masterpiece. His soft voice and keyboard work were part of the group's signature style, and their music still finds its way into weddings, radio throwbacks, and R&B playlists. Wayne died on June 5th at the age of 68. His contributions are woven into the fabric of old-school love songs. 20. Dwayne Wiggins. Dwayne Wiggins had soul, swag, and a guitar in hand. As one of the founding members of Tony, he helped create hits like Feels Good, If I Had No Loot, and Anniversary. The group, formed with his half-brother Raphael Sadiq and cousin Timothy Christian Riley, became a 90s staple. Their blend of funk, soul, and romance had a vibe that felt both retro and fresh. After the group's peak, Dwayne stayed active behind the scenes. He mentored artists like H.E.R., Zendaya, and even Destiny's Child before they blew up. In 2023, fans were thrilled when the original lineup reunited for a tour. But just a year later, on March 7th, he passed away at 64 after battling bladder cancer. Fans and fellow musicians mourned the loss of someone who helped shape the R&B landscape. Each of these actors left behind more than just roles. They left legacies, stories, and memories that will live on through their work. Which of these losses hit you the hardest? Let us know in the comments.